What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all been well. Today we got another episode. We're gonna be doing an install video of two things this time. We're gonna be installing the URD Y-pipe for the Tacoma, as well as the two extractor pipes. So the reason behind me wanting to do this mod is, if any of you are familiar with the stock Y-pipe on these 3.5 liter Tacomas, is that cross pipe is like super low, and I've hit it on rocks a couple times and it hangs below the cross member, so it's like the lowest point underneath the center of my truck. And the URD Y-pipe actually tucks it up higher and in front of the cross member, so instead of it being behind kind of towards the back of the T-case, it's going to be in front, and it'll tuck it up nice and high, give me a little more ground clearance so I'm not banging it on rocks and stuff like that. And then the extractor pipes, when I blew my motor, all the oil that was pretty much in the motor just flooded the entire exhaust, and I'm pretty sure my cats are shot. So I've been getting all these codes and stuff like that, and you know, eventually it was gonna happen. I didn't think all the oil would get burnt out. Eventually the cats were gonna be bad, so I figured take out the cats, do the extractor pipes, and yeah, get it ready for the next big mod that I have coming. And I'll tell you guys a little later, but I'll save that one for another video. So yeah, stay tuned, should be cool. And yeah, so we're under the truck right now, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is the Y-pipe, and they have a little flat spot to, I guess, make it a little higher, but it's not high enough. So you can see some scratches there, hit it on a rock a couple times. So instead of this cross pipe being here behind the cross member, the URD one actually brings it here, and it should be able to, you know, tuck it up a lot higher. Not have to worry about it hanging below this cross member, because yeah, you kind of lose clearance. So you can kind of see it, it's hard to say, right about there you can see it. So it's a little bit lower, and yeah, very prone to hitting rocks and stuff. So we're gonna get this unbolted, and yeah. All right, so I'm under the truck right now. I'm just gonna start unbolting the Y-pipe, taking off, I guess, the rear portion, take it off in sections just to make it a little easier on myself. So yeah. Had to spray some things with some PV Blaster just to kind of loosen everything up, because some of the bolts might be seized, and yeah, those are always fun to take out. As you can see, those cats are toast. More so this one, but yeah, they've definitely seen better days. So I got the factory Y-pipe out. Next thing I'm gonna do is kind of undo my splash guards, and then I should be able to get the bolts for the cats. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Ooh, so I just wanted to mention, just in case anybody's curious, for the bolts on the Y-pipe, they're the 14mm bolts, and for the cats, took off the splash guard. But let me get a light on. But there's actually 3 bolts that are to the engine, those are going to be 12mm bolts. So there's 3 of them. Take that off. There's a O2 sensor that the plug is above this, so you just got to unplug that. And then there's a bracket on the bottom part that bolts into the back part. So I think that's a 14. It might be a 12. I'll double check. All right, so I got the stock Cat's extractor pipes out. I'm not gonna even lie, on the driver's side it's a tight spot because there's all the steering components that are in the way. I'll try and show you guys. So you have the steering sector shaft and kind of all this other stuff that's kind of in the way, and there's 4 bolts. I don't know if you guys can see them, but there's 4 bolts, 1 on each corner, and it is really fun to get in on that side. So what I found was the easiest for me was just get a ratcheting wrench or a ratchet and a 12mm socket, a deep socket, and I kind of just went from the top of the engine and then just loosened everything like that. Once you get them cracked, the nuts come off relatively easily. And then the passenger side is not as bad. There's a little more space just under the airbox and stuff like that. And then I did confirm that the brackets that are holding the bottom part, there's one 14 that's on the bottom, and then there's 2 14s that hold it, I believe, onto the side of the transmission or something. So I just took off the bottom one and then the first lower bolt on the top of the bracket, and then I loosened the last one. I kind of just shifted it a little bit just to get some clearance, and then yeah, those popped right off and it wasn't too bad. So here are the new extractor pipes from URD. So pretty sure you just reuse the same gasket that you had. Other than that, it comes with like some extra hardware and then the other gaskets that go on the bottom. So I'll get those installed. I just sprayed some PB Blaster on the sensors. So I'm just gonna use an adjustable wrench and a mallet, kind of just tap them free, and hopefully they come off easily. So I got the old O2 sensors taken out and I put them on the extractor pipes. I could do it with the shield on for one of them, but this one was a little tight, so there's just 3 12mm bolts that pretty much bolt that heat shield into the cat. So you can just undo those, gives you a lot more space. And then, like I was saying, just use the adjustable wrench and a mallet and popped right loose. So next thing I'm going to be doing is installing the extractor pipes, cleaning off the little gaskets that are on them, and then yeah, just start bolting things in. So now that I got the extractor pipes in, I can show you guys. That's what it looks like. This is the bracket that I was talking about with the 14s. What I ended up doing was, because it doesn't quite line up exactly, I just put the 1 bolt in here and I left the top bolt on the trans side. And then I just left the 3rd one out because that should be plenty enough to hold them in place. Next thing we're going to be doing is putting the gaskets on, and then starting on the Y-pipe. I took the same thing, took the O2 sensors out from the old ones, dropped them into these, get these all in place, and get them bolted up here. So I had to backtrack just a little bit. I got the front parts of the Y-pipe in, but I did buy this used, and these flanges were a little tight for me to try and shift them around while these were bolted in. So I ended up taking these out and then kind of getting them started in here, and then I put the whole piece back in, got the front bolted. Next thing I'm gonna do is tighten the clamps, get this rubber on, and then work on getting that last piece on and attaching it to the exhaust. All right, so I just finished bolting everything in, tightening everything, making sure I plugged everything back in, and you guys can see this is all the old stuff, the old cats, the old Y-pipe. and yeah, they're kind of toasted. So that's all the stuff that I took out. I'll show you guys what it looks like now that the Y-pipe is actually higher than the cross member. So here's the URD Y-pipe, and you guys can see it sits higher. The other one was sitting like here. So we got everything bolted back in. All the O2 sensors are plugged in, and yeah, I actually have a fresh MBRP exhaust. Funny story, my neighbor actually saw me working in the garage one day, and then he asked me, he's like, hey, I got some extra parts, you know, from my truck that I used to have. If you want them, you can have them. And you know, I went over there, he had a brand new MBRP exhaust, and it was the exact same one that I had. So perfect. Mine was getting all beat up and stuff, so I got one for free. I'm gonna take it, I put it on, and then I took the other one off. I'm gonna give it to one of my friends, you know, kind of make his day, pass on the good fortune. But yeah, other than having to take the two front sections of the Y-pipe back off just to kind of get everything to fit, the install was pretty straightforward. You could do this with basic tools, no problem, and it's not super difficult or anything. So you know, I know this is kind of what everybody's been waiting for, so I'll do a sound clip. I'll show you guys what it sounds like before, and then I'll show you guys what it sounds like now that I have the extractor pipes and the URD Y-pipe, as well as the same MBRP exhaust. It's just a new one instead of the old beat up one. But yeah, I'll show you guys that. So that first startup, you're gonna have to excuse it. I'm thinking that it was probably because the fresh exhaust, you know, everything's just getting cleared out. You know, all the cobwebs, dust, and all that. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get a sound clip of me driving on the road, just so you guys can see. From my perspective, I don't know if you guys can tell, but once it kind of cleared all the other stuff out, it's significantly louder. And just to keep in mind, if you live in a state that has like emissions testing and stuff like that, this is like a no-go for that state. So just keep in mind, you know, if you do live in that kind of state, this may or may not be a mod that you know, will be for you. Another thing, because you're getting rid of the cats, you're probably gonna get a code. So there's two ways that I'm planning to work around this, because my next big mod, I'm probably gonna have to get tunes anyway. So I'm gonna try and work around that. If it clears the code, great. If not, then they make these O2 sensors with built-in like catalytic converters in them. It's like a mini O2 sensor, mini cat, and you screw your O2 sensor into that, and that gets screwed into the exhaust. So hopefully, you know, if I do end up needing that, that'll clear the code, because I know for sure this is gonna throw a code. But it's nothing, you know, to be really worried about as far as performance and function. It's just, you know, some places, you know, give you a hard time if you have a check engine light, and you know, that might be why. But I'm gonna go get in my truck, I'll mount this camera up underneath, and we'll get some sound clips of it driving. Stay tuned. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys what it sounds like in the cab, and then I have another camera pretty much recording the exhaust so you can hear what it sounds like. But this should give you guys an idea of what it sounds like in the cab. I have the windows down right now so you guys can hear it. sounds pretty nuts. Just keep in mind my truck is manual, so it may sound a little more different from automatic. Sounds kind of ricey, honestly. Try and roll up the windows, see how that sounds. I mean, when I'm just cruising, it doesn't sound too bad. I can hear more of it outside. Have to let it break in a little too. I know, same thing when you do like fresh exhaust and stuff like that, it's always going to be, you know, a little rough when you first start it. It's just clearing out all the stuff that's in it. Yeah, so we'll see. See, like when I'm just around 2000 RPM, it doesn't really sound too bad. I don't really notice it much. I think it's just when I get on it, that's when it starts to get a little loud. Yeah, usually around the 3000 RPM it starts to get a little whiny. Anything below that, it sounds decent, sounds pretty normal, like how it sounded before. GoPro is probably getting lickings right now. it's right in front of the exhaust, so I'm pretty sure it's getting all of it right now. So Alright, so it's been actually a week since I installed the Y-pipe and the extractor pipes. And, you know, I kind of gave it some time to see if it would break in a little more and, you know, soften up. But I know from the sound clips you guys heard already, like, it's super raspy and it's kind of annoying. So what I ended up doing was picking up a resonator. So I got an ultra quiet resonator from Vibrant, and I'm actually on my way to my friend's shop right now. He's gonna go burn that in for me, and then hopefully it kind of gets rid of that rasp, or at least a lot of it, because right now it's super annoying. So like, I'm in the cab right now and the windows are up, and I'll kind of downshift for you guys so you guys can hear it. Resonator, so it should sound pretty good, kind of get rid of that rasp. But yeah, stay tuned. All right, so we're at the shop right now. Got Dylan over here, about to cut the pipes, throw in the resonator. Trying to mock it up, kind of see where we got to cut, that way it doesn't hit that little cross section where the union bearing was, and get it all burned in. Hopefully it sounds a lot better. Super. So I'm gonna give you guys another interior sound clip. You guys can kind of hear how it sounds now. It has the Vibrant resonator in it. It's actually a lot quieter. Still has some rasp, but it's not till around like 3,000 RPM. And honestly, that's kind of closer to how the MBRP was when I first put it on anyway. So it helps a lot. I might mess around with like putting a different tip on instead of the MBRP tip. I might just try and throw something else, but it's a lot quieter. And you know, I'd rather throw a resonator on that doesn't restrict flow than put on the cats and you know, take off the extractor pipes and all that. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do to work around this sound stuff. But for now, I mean, it honestly sounds a lot better, and you guys can probably hear it in the cold start and stuff. It's way quieter than it was. It was like pretty annoying without the resonator. So I think for now it sounds a lot better. Like, this is 2,000 RPM, barely on the gas, so it's pretty much what it sounded like before. And yeah, so I mean, so far I like it. I might mess around with it more, so we'll see. I'll try and keep some updates probably on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Luau.taco, and you know, I'll leave the spelling in the description just in case you have a hard time. All right, so I don't know if you guys could kind of tell from the sound clip in the cab, but after I was driving it for a little bit, it kind of sounds like just the MBRP when I just put that on. Like, it has a little bit of rasp, but even the MBRP itself had that, and that was at like about 3,000 RPM. So it kind of sounds the same as it did before. I don't know, I might not even have to do an exhaust tip or anything on it. It's just a lot quieter. It's a little more pleasant to drive, kind of like what I'm used to. And the cold start itself isn't as crazy as it was. Like, it might not be as crazy in the video, but like in person, it is crazy loud. When I started it like cold with just without the resonator, it was kind of like ridiculous. I felt bad for my neighbors, but now that I got the resonator in, it sounds a lot better and pretty much like how it sounded before, but there's so much more flow and you can kind of feel that. And you know, the response and everything feels a lot more, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels better. And I think that was probably the way to go, just to not restrict flow but keep the sound somewhat minimal without being annoying. So I think I might keep it like this for a little while, and you know, if I ever get over it, I'll just throw a different tip on and see how that works for me. But that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. You know, I hope you enjoyed. If you're thinking about doing this, just to kind of recap, if you do the extractor pipes, regardless if you have the O2 sensors in or not, you're gonna get a code for both sides. So I'm thinking the remedy for that is to either tune it or get those mini catalytic converters that go between your O2 sensor and the extractor pipe, just to kind of filter out some of those fumes, if that's something you're worried about. But the Y-pipe itself, you shouldn't get any codes from that because you'll still maintain the factory cats. So just something to keep in mind. Other than that, you know, stay tuned for the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and yeah, shoots.